Boba Fett vs. the Predator certainly was an episode of Death Battle, and it does have something that no other episode this season or last can say that it also has. But I'll get into what that was when it comes up. Starting with the analysis, there's honestly not much to say. I liked how Fett's ended, I liked learning about the Predator, there was one kind of funny joke, and I cheered when Wiz said the FNAF year. Other than that, it wasn't too terribly interesting, and I found a lot of the jokes shockingly unfunny for how the season's been going so far. That's about all I got. The fight also certainly exists, and for two characters whose whole appeal is just being really cool, they certainly deliver on some pretty cool shots. There's some cool first-person perspective stuff. Boba spotting the invisible Predator was a good way to work in his 360-degree infrared sight, and Boba getting the drop on Predator with strategy was pretty neat. I also gotta give props to the Blender team's improvement in melee combat, because while it does start kinda slow, there are some decently fast-paced shots with minimal of the stiffness found in their other hand-to-hand fights. The one thing I do think is handled pretty amazingly in the fight, besides the visuals being super nice to look at, is the loss of Boba's arm. Predator playing back the "You're Mine" line from earlier, the smart disc circling back to catch Fett off guard and cut his arm off with that silhouette shot that looks really nice, and Predator taking the arm as a trophy which Fett reclaims in the end. But easily the best bit is Fett cauterizing his wound with a lightsaber. That is metal as hell. And the finale to the fight, yeah, that's two endings in a row this season that just don't work for me. I do like the concept here at least. Fett evading in the middle of a fire because of the heat-confusing Predator's thermal sight is a cool idea. In execution though, I'm not too big on how they handled it. Predator just stopping mid-scythe swing even though he just knocked Fett down feels kinda dumb considering how smart and skilled the species is supposed to be, and especially considering the lightsaber is hotter than the fire, so that would stand out more anyway. Hell, we see as much 2 seconds later when Fett swings at its face. And then I feel like I have to be missing something with this ending. I don't get why the Predator looks so bored here, or why he gives up after the only thing Fett's lightsaber cut was the plasma scythe. As far as I can tell, he wasn't even cut by it. I thought his arm, or at least his dreadlocks, must have been hit with the angle it was going at, but as far as I can see, there was no disarming and no buzz cut special. We also never see Fett get away from the epicenter of the self-destruct. He was right on top of the Predator, so for him to survive feels a little strange. Also, to double back a bit because my few thoughts on this episode are all over the place while I write this, I'm not a fan of Fett dropping the "ugly motherfucker" line. It feels kinda shoehorned in rather than something that's been worked in naturally. I would have probably preferred if he'd said something like, "Yeah, I've seen worse." And the lightsaber versus scythe combat feels like kind of a step back from how good the arm blade and funny stick fights looked earlier. At least the ending shot and the last bit of the track were nice. About all I have left to say that I haven't already about the fight is I like the knee rockets being used, Cameron did good voicing Boba, and Boba's jetpack getting knocked off was kinda silly but in a good way. The conclusion was also fine. I liked that they threw in the comparisons to the kind of prey that they hunt. That's really the extent of my thoughts on this episode. But wait a second, didn't I say this episode had something I didn't think any other episode had in the last season and a half? Well yeah, that'd be a 6 out of 10 score. It's a good episode and I enjoyed myself, but I also haven't felt this nonchalant about an episode since Lex vs. Doom, and I have hilariously little to say about it. Not that this is quite the snooze fest that Lex Doom was for me. Like I said, I still liked the episode overall, it's just not one I feel very strongly about. An unfortunate end to the streak of banger episodes we've had since Korra vs. Storm, but if this is season 9's lowest point in the first half, we could be doing a lot worse. Anyway, time for the reaction highlights now. My usual group for these was all the way to Texas for some reason. I think there might have been a concert or something, I don't know. So I dragged Adam, some IRL friends, and 2 Australian blokes along with me for this one. As per usual, this will be the edited highlights, but if you want to see the full uncut reaction plus the half-hour conversation we had afterwards, then that'll be getting uploaded to Nem's channel. Check it out if you think you'd be interested in hearing us immediately forget about the episode and start watching expensive fails compilations instead. Oh yeah, and Nem's reviewing the episode as well, which will be linked in the description. I should probably stop forgetting to bring that up every time. Whose profile picture in the hyperbeam room is Walter White Barbarian?
That'll be
10 minutes.
Paracos
It took 10 minutes to try and figure it out.
It took you 10 minutes to figure that out.
That's brilliant.
It's not very clear.
Well
I have to go a different tab. The last Death Battle was like 4 fucking years ago.
I'm surprised it wasn't lost early on.
Maybe it is, I don't know, I've forgotten. It was
The
a little
last time we
closer now.
talked about it was when season 2 was still ongoing.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect.
We're on season 9
vs
now.
Predator! Yo, Alien vs Predator!
I don't like how Dooku looks in Clone Wars.
Yeah, we got a fucking coach,
Bye.
man.
Dooku looked like Dookie, you could say.
Simple man making his way through the galaxy. Is that referencing something?
Like his
I
father
don't-
before him, like Luke says that.
I know that like his father before him, but just a simple man, I saw a lot of people quoting that. Is that in Book of Boba Fett or something?
Maybe, but I don't care.
Yes,
Just pretend like it was funny.
I don't remember
Is that
that
new
meme
Testament?
line.
no, he said
I
it
don't
in
know.
Mando season 2. Actually, Mando season 2.
Oh, he's in. I forgot he was in the Mando.
Okay, so Book of Boba Fett was so unfunny they had to reference Mando instead.
That's how bad it was, sheesh.
That part,
Boba-
that
Honestly,
part
I,
of the
I
Boba
wouldn't
Fett
be
show
surprised if
where-
her Book of Boba Fett wasn't good.
Yeah.
Book terrible shit.
Enjoyed it.
Just thinking of the fucking crowbar.
It's just a stick. It's a good.
Yeah, there's just like is the highly advanced weapon, big
It's
metal
just a
stick.
weirdly shaped stick. Why is it shaped like that?
You
In
know,
all their
like you
infinite
find a cool
wisdom,
stick
they
in the
gave-
woods.
I remember that episode. That's the episode with the super tanks. I know that because the super tanks.
Season 2, Invasion of
It was a good
Geonosis.
episode. It
Ah,
was a good episode.
I still haven't watched any of Clone Wars. I probably
Well,
should.
you're an idiot. I'm sorry.
I'm aware, and we're the same person, so that makes
Oh,
you an
fuck.
idiot by
Oh, that
proxy.
means I'm allowed to call you on. Are they actually fucking scaling into Vader?
Well, he did fight Vader, to be
He
fair.
didn't. Vader was holding back.
But like he
And he
did.
was still
If you just
blitzing.
like look at the context,
He was blitzing Boba
I
while
mean, you're
holding
blocking the
back.
screen.
Was I supposed to laugh at that?
You ever
I think you
noticed
might
that-
have been supposed to
Ever
laugh at
noticed
that,
Dumb Dumb's
Joseph.
visor
Sorry,
kinda looks like
I
the
laughed.
visor of an Among Us?
I did
When he
laugh, it was
thirsts
just
for blood.
Mike didn't pick up.
So
I
what?
guess.
What?
Don't worry,
Funny.
I'll edit like a laugh track so everyone will think you actually laughed.
Survived debuting in the holiday special.
It should have been survive being
So weird that
best in the holiday
that is where
special
he
over anything
disappeared,
else in
yeah.
canon.
I did not retain any of what
Wait,
was
yeah,
said in
I
that
don't know.
entire analysis.
He-
I
I
got
don't know
Blast.
I'm watching.
Hey!
He
This
blasted
is
the big guy.
1987. Let's go.
I remember there was
Here
3
in
tons of
1987.
TNT. That's what they gave Boba. And
3.9 tons.
3.9.
But like, but he did fight Vader, so like,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
I really hope they've cut the bit where Boomstick gets horny over the Predator's face that was in the preview. I really hope that it doesn't stay.
What about that? Thanks
Oh,
for
wait,
reminding
I
me.
know the alien murderer, but it makes me feel
You're not about to get on Boomstick for being horny. I'm sorry,
No,
that would
yeah,
be the
you're
most
not allowed to.
hypocritical.
that would be like
Unless
if
you
Biff,
want
if Biff
to.
got upset that they had funny accents. Like it'd just be wrong.
My accent is incredibly funny.
It's not, it's just
The
gross.
Predator's unique way
Stop
of seeing,
it.
which was just shown as everything's red.
Yowcha.
Not
Just
Yelcha.
Yowcha.
That joke was also not very funny. I'm sorry.
Was it supposed to be? No.
I do like learning about the species as a whole. I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot more engaging to me than Boba's.
Oh, they did cut it out. Dang it.
Yeah. Why is the alien falling down the stairs funny to me? God damn it.
He just killed his fucking stick.
Oh my. Did he just say
God,
retractable
man.
penis?
I wasn't
He doesn't have like
listening.
a weird metal stick though.
True. Wait, no,
He's-
that is a weird metal stick that he's got right there.
Yeah, that's like a real weapon. That looks.
It's not even.
Yeah.
It's not even
Doesn't
a
look
weird
like-
metal stick. It's just a normal stick with blades on it. It's
Just a metal stick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a weapon.
Correct.
Boba Fett looks like something fell off
Sorry,
a
was
ship.
that-
He's like,
that
oh,
cutaway
nice
gag, or
weapon.
was that actually meant to be a gag that was just there?
I don't know.
I don't actually know.
I don't know what to tell you. I can't confirm that as well.
What is this from?
Well, this is from one of the games, obviously, but
Yeah, I know.
This
I
game gives
figured.
most of the best Yautja stuff, which I guess means they're using a Yautja from that clan. I know for a fact I'm not gonna like that a jungle hunter predator is gonna have all this equipment from unrelated clans.
Well, how else are they gonna, show off the cool stuff while keeping the iconic?
I mean, you could either use an
Character.
actual character, or you could
No.
actually use a Yautja of that clan.
You say
Nah,
cool stuff
they
isn't
want the
working
iconic
properly.
one from the movie
Oh.
while keeping the
The problem with they used a small version of the calc, I think.
yeah. Bad
That's
if
cool.
Did you
What?
just say sexual tyrannosaurus?
Yeah.
I hope
See,
so.
what gets to me is that if they use the
You're gonna make a
original
joke about
Jungle
Jack
Hunt-
later.
the main
Won't be rushing
personality
it, but-
trait of the Jungle Hunter from the original movie is that it carries very little equipment. That's its main character trait, which is what makes it so funny to imagine that Yautja with all this shit. It would be like Boba coming in with like General Grievous arms.
That'd be
Starting-
awesome if he came in with General Grievous arms. Why hasn't Disney given that to him?
Oh.
I like those jetpack
What happened to the back
malfunctions.
rocket?
That's...
Did it ever actually land?
Did he fight? Did he fight?
Yeah,
I don't
He
know.
fired it, but did
I
it
don't know.
land?
It's
I
not
don't
there.
remember.
No,
Maybe I just blacked out.
he fired
Probably.
it, he just
I was
Predator
done.
just dodged it.
It just
Huh?
didn't even
Those
explode.
looks
It
kinda
just
sick.
land.
Let's
See,
go.
that was absurdist comedy.
Yeah, that was absurdist comedy with the intention of subversion or surprise. I forgot how the line goes.
Just stabs
Down
the
his stick.
drummer.
Bring out the weird stick. Bring out the weird stick.
He's using the weird stick.
Oh, he's been
holy
disarmed.
shit.
It's got
That'll be
that.
fine.
Happens to the best of us.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He just walks it off.
That feels like such a
It-
awful
it-
weapon
it-
to
it-
use
it's
as like
gonna
a
say, like,
grenade.
Lightsaber.
Did he
Oh,
cauterize
that
his
was
whip
cool.
with
I
a
think it
lightsaber?
did.
What? That's sick.
Yeah.
Is that
That's cool.
canon?
There it
Could you
is.
do that?
Oh, come
Oh, I
on.
said
it's
the
not
line.
funny.
It'd have been funny if Predator said that.
I really hope they wouldn't. Oh, the fire's throwing off its infrared. Oh, that's kind of cool.
But that
Genius,
doesn't make
man.
sense because the lightsaber's so hot he would see
Oh,
it.
Jesus, you went for
Yeah.
that quickly. God, yeah.
Who cares?
Well.
Cool.
Boba Fett was probably survived because he did. He beat Vader, so like.
That was
Yeah,
kind of
he-
anticlimactic.
Okay, no.
Yeah, that was
Very
I
cool,
enjoyed
but
that. That was,
yeah.
that was
He
good.
said the line.
That was okay.
I'm gonna need to rewatch this on my own at some point because that ending kind of confused me. As much weaponry as Predator has, he just didn't have the funny shaped stick.
He did, the stick was the deal breaker. They're gonna say that later on Twitter. It's like, for those who didn't understand, funny stick was the.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah. The
Like, for those who
mystery-
didn't understand the funny stick, it was absurdist comedy based on subversion.
Yeah, so I guess because
It's
obviously the
subversive,
funny
yeah.
stick isn't that effective of a weapon, but we're acting like it is. That's the
Yeah,
joke.
like that's just in case anyone didn't quite get the joke. See, thing is, people won't get the joke unless we explain it. I've read our comment
Yeah, I
section.
think quite good.
Oh yeah, so
We don't
just to
wanna-
clear things up, funny stick wasn't the deciding factor, but
Do you want to point out the thermal detonator had a big explosion in the animation in the suicide bomb?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
know.
that was weird. What? Right, I'm thinking like James Bond versus like John Wick. Imagine if that was
I
the
still
next
can't
time.
believe I
Nah,
predicted
That'd be
that.
cool,
Thanks
yeah.
for stand-
Too bad it's never gonna happen, though.
Yeah.
I think it's
well,
gonna
okay, we'll
be
show the
Oh,
bonus
okay.
episode.
Excalibur.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
How
my
that
God.
gets-
Excalibur?
That's good.
It's
That's,
Excalibur
oh, that's good.
versus
That's
Raiden
actually
versus
Alright,
that's
so-
okay.